This tutorial is showing you where the main textures can be found in Dragon Age Inquisition, how head and armoured textures are broken down, and some simple steps to get you started on your texture journey. So first we open Frosty. At the time of this tutorial it is version 1.0.5.9. I won't be going through the common errors with Frosty Editor, and please, if you run into any, go to the Frosty Discord, as I don't know many of the errors and how to fix them. There will be a link to a troubleshooting guide I made in the description, however, which does have some of the common errors. Having said that, Frosty Editor does require admin rights, which you can add as so. Right click, go to Properties, Compatibility, and make sure Run this program as an administrator is ticked. Click Apply and then click OK. This is a must, otherwise the game won't run. So you have to have this option. The game you are modding, so in this case Dragon Age Inquisition, must be on an NTFS or UDF formatted hard drive. And make sure you have full ownership of the game folder and Frosty folder. And adding admin rights to the game exe has been known to fix also some issues in the past. So go to the game exe and do this again with right click, Properties, Compatibility, and Run Program as Administrator. For example, if you're using reshade, try admin rights to your game exe, because I had this issue myself where using reshade caused me to not be able to move my character whatsoever in the game. I could move the camera when using the cinematic tools, but I could not move my character whatsoever even when disabling that. Adding admin rights to the game exe personally fixed that issue for me. However, for many other issues, I do seriously advise going to the Frosty Discord, because they know a lot more than me, because they work with the program themselves. Once you've clicked on the Frosty Editor exe, you will get this menu. If this is empty, simply click New and find your game and click on the exe. So since I've already got it, it says it already has a configuration. But the configuration can take a while when you click this, if you haven't already got the Dragon Age cache built. This is normal, but once it's built, it'll load pretty much as quickly as this if the cache is still in that folder. So now we're going to start with an outfit that doesn't follow the norm for textures. So let's go to Dragon Age 3, Actors, Alistair, Appearance, Textures. So first we want to go on the model. When you first load a model in Frosty Editor, when it's first open, or every time you open it, the first model takes the longest to load. This is because it is building up the database. Okay, so let's now open the textures as well, so I can show what I mean. So when making textures, I use this. The tint map is the best thing to recolor textures, especially if you want to just use the diffuse for colors and then just make this black so that doesn't affect the model again. So in this case, the blue channel affects the belts, the underside of the shoe, and the straps. The red channel affects the chest piece here, the legs, and some of the arm pieces. And then the green channel affects the neck piece here and this piece here. Basically defines what the game is telling is leather or leather 2, or cloth and cloth 2, and so on. Or metal. Now this is where this outfit doesn't follow the norm. The metal is usually defined on the specular blue channel, so this channel, but this is actually an ambient occlusion map. So an ambient occlusion actually defines shadows. So even in certain lighting, this will tell the darker areas to remain dark. So under the armpits and stuff like that, or under this heel of the shoe. So this is normally the metal. So on the mesh, you can actually change the materials. So to wireframe, which would show the vertices and so on. Base color, which is basically this, diffuse. Specular color, which should be a mixture of them all, actually, on the specular. The normals, so this is actually showing it when it's not yellow, so how you see it in Blender and so, but we have it yellow in our viewport. This tells the game what height the textures should be at. So like these bits, should they go in, should they pop out, and so on. So ambient occlusion map, this is blank. This is because this texture, ambient occlusion, is on this. Not all textures have, models have ambient occlusion, but this one does. But it is actually on the channel that's usually used for metal, which is why I'm showing this. So if we go to smoothness, this is defined usually on, okay, yeah, on this one it's the green channel. If we go to metallic, there's our ambient occlusion. So as you can see, it shows dark parts and stuff. And now we go for reflectivity. I would say this and the, okay, that's definitely going to be the red channel on this. Yeah. So this is just telling it that these areas that are more white should be reflecting light the most. Most textures, the more white it is on these kind of textures is how much it affects that texture. So for smoothness, it would be the whiter it is, the more smooth the texture looks in game. And for reflectivity, the more white it is, the more light it reflects in game. And for metal, the more white it is, the more metallic it is in game. So let's just find a model that actually follows the normal. Okay, that's the boots. Let's go to preview. If you want to preview all parts together, we want to add additional meshes. So we want to find the arms and chest. So when it's 0, 0, 0, that means legs. When it's 0, 0, let's find one. That means arms. So let's add that here. Oops, here, and add another one, so we can add that there. And when it's 1, 0, then it's your chest piece, when it's 1, 0 at the front. So now we've got that all together. You can even pick the variation, so I don't think it really changes much on here. Okay, that one definitely did. I think that's just showing the base mesh. So let's just clear that to get back to here. So now if we go to metallic, that's what it should be looking like. So if we go to textures, it should be, actually, let's go to variations, material collection. So if you want to find the textures that actually is defined here, or you maybe don't know which texture it uses, go to variations, materials, and go down and then click find in Data Explorer, open. So all of these affect that one outfit. So if we go to just showing the blue channel, that is now what our mesh is showing, and that's defining what is metal on that outfit. Reflectivity, let's go to specular, that should be the red channel, yep. So we go to the green channel, that should be smoothness, yep. And I don't think there was an alpha, no, okay. So the tint map again defines what part gets coloured by what in the game. So sadly we can't see this on this drop down menu. So that's our base colour, specular, combination. And normals again, so this is defining that them go in. They come out on the, as I said, not all of them have the ambient occlusion. So normally the blue channel should always be the metal. So if you wanted to add metal to the outfit, you'd first add it to the diffuse and then copy that location in here for the blue channel and make that white. So for example, if we wanted to change the colour here, we could do it another way on another tutorial that I will link in the description, or we do it directly via the textures. So we will want to export these. Sorry, that was from a previous test. Oops. Okay, now let's open them. Okay, so if we wanted to change this colour manually, we would first go to colours, decompose on the tint map, and because there is an alpha channel as seen by these checkered markings, we change that to RGBA. So we've got red, green, blue and alpha channel. Control A to select all, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. Do that for each layer. Right click to press new layer as well. Sorry, I didn't explain that on the last one. To new and copy, paste. So let's red. Oh yeah, blue, A, put it that way. And we want to decompose the specular as well. So if we press Control F, it should do that since that was our last command. Because we will be editing this as well. A tint map, we don't need to edit, but if you want it so the tint map does not affect the game model whatsoever, we would make it black. Okay, so let's call it black. So that would not affect the tinting of the map at all. Close that as we don't need the tint map open anymore. Close that as well. So now we have our diffuse with these and the normal map and the specular broken down. For the specular broken down, we do want to copy the metal over to the diffuse. Okay, so now we go to color to alpha, change this to black. Okay, press Control F to repeat on each layer and put that down. So let's say first we want to change the color of the metal. Right click, alpha to selection, Control C, Control P, Control C while hovering over the diffuse, Control V, it's a new layer. So we're going to go for some outrageous colors just for the sake of testing. So let's make that very bright light blue. So we'll change that to metal as well, and that'll change it to metal 1. Alpha selection, copy, paste, new layer. Let's see, we don't want that being that color. So it's actually already got green out of it, so let's actually change that to purple. Different color stands out against the blue, so it's easier to see. So that was our red channel. Alpha selection again. Oops. Alpha selection. Okay, yep. Control paste. Okay, yeah, that did it. So let's make that that colour just for the sake of it being bright. Okay, outward selection, control paste. So that looks to be the top of the pants. So let's just make that red for the sake of it, this tutorial. So let's export our new diffuse. Actually, let's add an extra dot of metal. So make a new texture. Get our paintbrush on blue. So let's get that blue. Let's make paintbrush. Okay, what's the front of the outfit? That one, isn't it? So let's say we want to add a few more dots along the belt. Doesn't matter at the moment that these aren't straight. Oh, they go a bit wonky. It's just for the sake of this tutorial. Control C on that layer, the whole layer. Now this layer selected, Control V. And anchor. So it's already white. So now, so we've edited a layer. We want to also edit it on. Okay, so we want it to show up as if you highlight over that, it'll go onto that. So anchor again. So it adds to that. And now we don't need to add it to that layer. So let's go to colors, components, and compose. RGB, because we do not have an alpha layer on our specular. Okay, let's. Where are we? There we are. Let's just export it over the original. We can always export the original back out. Okay, export up the original again on that one. Okay, let's import our specular. Okay, normal as well we didn't do. Let's do that quick actually. So normal, we want that layer as well. Okay, so the normal layer is actually double the size, so we go to here, scale layer 0096, scale. Okay, so now it's in the right position. New layer. Aha, it's under generic now. It used to actually be under the other one. So let's. Okay, so it is going to have to be the colours inverted. So let's make that scale up. Yeah, as you can see, it don't really change much because that isn't really much of a difference. Let's go colour, invert. So it adds a little bit to it, but not much. Not the best option, but basically fiddle around with that until it looks to what you want. Export. Not really the most major edit to show on a normal map, but we'll have a look. Don't think there is an option to reload textures in this window, so sadly you have to show that. Okay. Normal texture should be ready. Yep. Okay, so load the mesh again. Go to preview, additional meshes. Okay. So yeah, as we can see when we zoom in on our metal here, that's showing as well. And if we go to metallic, it's showing for our normals. It's not showing, so yeah, it's one of those ones where I said the edit's not going to be majorly noticed on the normal. I can just see some little dots there. Base color, reflectivity, we didn't edit that one because the metal is already in that dark area. Smoothness, yep, it's there. So now we could test that in game to see how that looks. Actually, let's metallic. Okay, actually I will show a picture of how this particular edit looks afterwards. So say now we wanted to make a head texture. First we have to decide, who do we want to make the texture for? An Inquisitor or for a character that's already based in the game, such as Blackwall. Let's actually close all these documents. So I've got to refresh this. So Blackwall's textures. Blackwall's texture and some of the other characters do not have an alpha channel, but if you would go to the Inquisitor texture, or the dwarf female, or dwarf male, and human female, human male, canary female, they all have an alpha layer. This is the layer that defines what of the texture needs the skin tint applied. So this base look without the alpha is our base skin. So when you apply the alpha on top of it and then a skin tint on top of that, that will tell this area what skin color it needs to be. So if a texture doesn't have that alpha layer, it can't be used. So for example, if we wanted to turn Blackwall's texture into an Inquisitor texture, we would have to make the skin the same color as the skin on the Inquisitor textures. So for humans and stuff, you would need that. For Canary, I'm not sure if it is possible, but I mean, it's worth a try if you want to attempt it. And then you would need to add this alpha layer to make it apply the skin color. So that's the difference between some of the non-playable characters that we know, like the companions and advisors, and the Inquisitor and the minor non-playable characters. As we can see, when hovering over a texture and going to references, you can find how many characters use that texture. So click on type to bundle them together and look for morph statics. For the human female head Inquisitor diffuse, it is only used by the Inquisitor themselves, Hawk, and 3 minor non-playable characters. An Inquisitor soldier, an elf servant in Haven, the class as a servant in this name, and a noble Ferelden as well. So that only affects 3 minor non-playable characters. It affects the Inquisitor as well, but since we customize our Inquisitor, that's completely fine. And Hawk we can customize as well, unless you want them to show the same texture, then that's also completely fine. So that's actually one of the reasons why this texture is used the most. And sadly, some textures do get issues. I'm hoping these get fixed at a later point, especially with plugins getting added to Frosty Editor. If you find that you get like a checkerboard like this, but colourful checkerboard on your face texture or any texture that you edit in Frosty Editor, this means for now that texture should be edited in Dragon Age Inquisition mod maker only, sadly. Okay, So if we wanted to edit a NPC texture into Inquisitor texture, as you can see, there is no M. This defines the her on the NPC. Oh, one of the more popular NPC characters. Not popular, most used. Yeah, because they've got their individual textures. So, okay, let's use Calpurnia as an example. She hasn't got as much her on that one. So let's export that, and we want to use that as well. So in here we'll close these and open our head textures. Okay, so for this we can right click and add layer mask, transfer layers alpha channel, add. Now we can actually disable the layer mask, so what we see is this. Now we can compare that to this, which there isn't actually too much of a difference. But first we want to select this onto here, select the color, invert. Okay, it doesn't actually cover all the hair, but what we then would want to do is use, let's say we want to use the copy tool. Just make brush a little bit bigger. This isn't going to go completely right, but then we want to get rid of the hair. So this is a lengthy process and won't look perfect, especially since I'm only doing it as an example. Okay, let's do an even bigger brush. Okay, you can see it's not going to be blending in perfectly here, but it's better than nothing so far. And you can do a bit of blending afterwards. Okay. So let's merge that down. Copy this actually. Oh, actually, no. Yeah, we want to use maybe that for the edge. Okay, go down to this actually. Change the size. This is trying to be quick as possible. Example, because if we want the eyebrows from in the character creation to be applied, then we don't want it already. Oops. Let's change that to there. Completely get rid of that and that one. And then like I said, it's gonna be a bit of a paw. They're done. Ooh. Merge that down. Use, I don't know, a smudge tool. Like I said, it's not perfect because I don't really do this myself, but this is a way of maybe doing it. Yeah, okay, let's, I know it looks pretty bad. Copy this over this. New layer. Okay, floating mask. Okay, let's Okay. So we can, yeah, because the edit layer mask goes on, so we have to turn that off. Okay. So as we can see, the texture is still off. So we'd want to get this as close as possible to this. So we're going to colorize or hue chroma. Maybe. Oh no, no. Like I said, I'm not really good at this, but once you've got all your edits done, I know this isn't perfect. Yeah. Okay, we want to make sure that's getting copied. Apply layer mask. Okay, let's see if we add a layer mask to that first. Sure. Paste. Okay, now that's done it. Anchor. That should put it into there. Apply layer mask. Let's hide our original one. Export that one. I said I've not done this before, but that's roughly the thing you would need after editing. You need that layer underneath. So let's import that. Okay, so it's showing the right sections and it has the alpha layer to apply the skin tint. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope this helps someone. Like I said, I've not done personally texture edits myself, but you always need that alpha layer for the Inquisitor. Oh, one more thing before I forget. Once your mod is finished or in routine, do please save the project. But once you're finished, export to mod, your title, your username. So for me, it would be Padme 4000. The category you want it to fall under in the mod manager, and what version of your mod it is. You can add an icon. For me, I use my 3D budgie I made from scratch, and my friend made it into an icon for me. Use a domain error. And then you can use some preview images here. Now, a bug that I was talking about, when a texture doesn't want to work in Frosty, it gets this error, and this happens on the face armor textures. The companion textures are one of the most common to happen with, but sadly it was one of the best textures for me to use. An example of the specular being the different channels and such, with the blue channel being metal. So if you get this error, then I would say you have to convert it to Dragon Age Inquisition Mod Maker. There are tutorials around for Mod Maker, thankfully, on what formats the DDS has to be in order to import into Mod Maker. So say we was happy with our random colours that we made, you would then have to import those into Mod Maker instead. This also happens sadly with some of the facial textures as well. Thank you for watching. I hope this helped.